Next on First News at 5, the Attorney General weighs in on allegations of an Open Meetings Act violation at District 186. What she decided next.
A June 9th deadline is fast approaching for Illinois lawmakers to pass concealed carry legislation. Tonight we'll find out why there have been calls for a new bill.
And we reveal how much money you helped raise for Oklahoma tornado relief in just 24 hours. First News at 5 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Illinois lawmakers have until June 9th to pass a concealed carry law. If not, a judge will throw out the current ban.
That would cause constitutional carry to kick in, meaning anyone with a FOID card can carry a gun. ABC News Channel 20's Mike Brooks joins us live from the State House with an update on the progress of multiple bills. Mike?
So far, we haven't seen Senator Kwame Raoul's concealed carry bill come up for a vote in the Senate. That's despite the fact that he initially planned to call it last Friday. Now, it is a more restrictive bill. It would allow home rule communities to make their own rules on what areas are off limits. Plus, applicants would have to demonstrate a need to carry a firearm. And carrying in Chicago would require the consent of the superintendent of police. Now, Brandon Phelps, HB 997, that's the NRA-backed plan, hasn't gone anywhere in the House, but today he filed a new and similar measure that many downstate lawmakers are asking for in both chambers.
We need a good comprehensive bill, a bill that very closely resembles what the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals said that we should have. I mean, we need to follow that directive, and we need to honor the Second Amendment and those folks who believe in that.
A couple of the big sticking points with this issue have been whether to create any additional standards for Chicago. Now, Phelps' bill doesn't treat Chicago any differently than any other areas. Another point of disagreement was whether to allow law enforcement agents to object to someone who applies to carry a gun, and Phelps' bill does contain a system for that. Now, I literally just spoke with the NRA's Todd Vandermeide a few minutes ago. He said he's still reviewing the legislation, and the NRA does not have a position as far as whether they're going to endorse it yet. Reporting live at the State House, Mike Brooks, ABC News Channel 20.
Thanks, Mike. And you can read the full text of Representative Phelps' new legislation on our website. Just click on Web Watch. Concealed carry isn't the only gun topic coming up at the Capitol. Democratic Senator Dan Katowski introduced a high-capacity magazine ban on Monday, but it has yet to come up for a vote in the Senate. Also at the State House today, Illinois Senate President John Cullerton urges a House vote on his pension reform plan, even though House Speaker Michael Madigan has his own proposal. Cullerton says he believes House members want to vote on his measure. On Tuesday, some House members alleged Cullerton's legislation doesn't save enough money. Cullerton believes his legislation can survive a court challenge and admits there isn't enough support for Madigan's competing pension plan in the Senate.
The District 186 School Board is under fire for failing to comply with the Open Meetings Act. The Illinois Attorney General's office reviewed the case and says the previous school board violated the act when it signed a separation agreement with former superintendent. ABC News Channel 20's Christina Mueller explains what the report says the board did wrong. Christina.
Vince, the board signed a separation agreement with Dr. Walter Milton Jr. during a closed meeting in February. This was before the issue was publicly discussed or voted on, and the agreement wasn't voted on in public until a month later. The problem is, before the public vote, the board did not publicly discuss the terms of the agreement or the reasons Dr. Milton's contract was terminated. We're told the agreement included a payout of more than $175,000. The Public Access Bureau asked for verbatim of recordings of the closed meetings where the agreement was discussed, but the board responded that some of those recordings failed. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from board members and take a closer look at the Attorney General's review. Back to you.
Just 2 days after a deadly tornado tore apart portions of Oklahoma, insurance officials are warning that damage estimates could top $2 billion. That's just in the town of Moore. The early tally is based on visual assessments of the damage zone. Weather officials say the EF5 tornado was on the ground for 40 minutes and left behind a 17-mile-long path of destruction. Now, an update on our 24 Hours of Giving campaign. We wanted to see just how much money Central Illinois could raise for tornado relief efforts. You guys sure helped. We gave you 24 hours and you gave the American Red Cross $33,485. That's how much the Springfield chapter received through your phone calls and text messages. Officials at the Red Cross say the people of Oklahoma will need all the help they can get.
It's a really long time for people to recover, Initially we're looking at sheltering people for the emergency, then we're going to be there to help them clean up by providing them sustenance so they don't have to worry about where their food is coming from as they're cleaning up. And then it runs into the long-term process. They've got to rebuild.
Officials tell us any donations made to the redcross.org website go directly to the national organization, and it could be a few weeks before they get a tally on those donations.
Weeks after the river crests and still a lot of mess in west central Illinois, 16 counties have been added to the list of those eligible for federal disaster aid in our state. But not everyone who saw damage is included. ABC News Channel 20's Kimberly Howard has a look as to why.
Meridosha is one of few communities that still has sandbags cushioning their levee. It's also one of few communities affected by record level flooding where homeowners aren't eligible for federal assistance. And that may be because of these very same sandbags. It was only weeks ago when a bucket brigade patched the fear that water would spill over the top.
This is one of the bigger disasters that we've had in recent history.
49 counties have been declared state disaster areas. Dozens of those are now on a list for federal aid. That money would go to businesses or homeowners affected by the flooding, but not folks in Meridosha.
Primarily, when you look, we know there has to be a primary residence, and we look at the impact first floor living conditions. And we just really didn't have any of that.
A different story in Mason County, where despite those same efforts, 24 homes have major damage, many others in need of significant repair.
In some other counties, it might just be the local governments that had a lot of expense, and maybe it's because of what they did that helped prevent damage.
That means those counties are still eligible for federal aid. It's just considered public aid to reimburse the local government for the money spent to protect the community. The protection still in place here in Meridosha.
It's springtime in Illinois, and history has dictated, and with many that if we go cleaning it up right away, we may be doing the same thing tomorrow.
And they may find they have much more damage tomorrow, as only time can tell the number Mother Nature did on this area.
We still have water. There's still water over roads. There's still traffic problems. There's still road problems that's got to be addressed.
These sandbags will eventually need to be cleaned up, but the community says they may need to hire contractors to get the job done. That will only add to the $650,000 tab Morgan County has already racked up. In Meridosha, Kimberly Howard, ABC News Channel 20.
Best case scenario, communities like Morgan County will get 75% of the flood costs they incurred reimbursed by the federal government. The other 25%, they'll have to find that money somewhere else.
Well, a lot of clouds outside tonight. You can see the mostly cloudy sky right there in our live tower cam. Not much rain, though, as we look across central Illinois. Some very isolated showers here or there, and that's all we'll see tonight. Over the next few hours, even that chance will start to come to an end once that sun sets. Low pressure spinning to our north, a cold front now to our east. Cooler weather starting to push in here. You felt a drier air today. There's another cold front that could bring a rain chance here early tomorrow. Behind that, more cool weather. Temperatures fall through the 60s and eventually mid-50s by late tonight, 66 tomorrow. It looks like part of the holiday weekend will see rain. I'll tell you which part is most likely coming up.
All right, Rick, we'll see you in a few. Still ahead tonight on First News at 5. The doctor who treated the lone survivor of the Beeson murders takes the stand. What led him to believe her injuries were no accident?
And later on, before you plate up tonight's dinner, we'll tell you the 2 things you should eat to help lower your risk of heart attack or stroke.
It's the OCI Cam at Lake Springfield Marina. You're watching ABC News Channel 20.
A fractured skull and one ear nearly ripped off. Those are 2 of the injuries suffered by the sole survivor of a beating that left 5 people dead in a Beeson home.
ABC News Channel 20's Katie Hines is live outside the Peoria County Courthouse with details of what jurors got to see and hear today. Katie?
Liz, Vince, 3-year-old Tabitha G was the only survivor of the attacks in 2009. Her doctor says she suffered a blow to the head that was so strong it cracked her skull. Now, her doctor testified she had to remove part of the little girl's skull to relieve the swelling in her brain. She told the jury the jagged break in Tabitha G's cranial bone was caused by force consistent with a blow from a tire iron. The doctor pointed out a gash that was so deep it went all the way to her skull. And she explained one of the girl's ears was nearly ripped from her head. At least one juror looked away as prosecutors showed CT scans and graphic photos of the injuries.
It's going to evoke some passion and maybe some sympathy from the jurors. It's going to keep their attention, especially at this phase when the jury, when the jury's been sitting there now for more than a couple weeks. It kind of renews the theme that's been elicited and presented in this case as well.
The little girl spent almost a month in the hospital. She was airlifted to OSF St. Francis Medical Center in Peoria the day police discovered the bodies of her parents and 3 siblings. The pilot picked her up in Tremont when paramedics determined speed was an issue. Christopher Harris is charged with attempted first-degree murder, along with 37 other counts in the beating deaths of Rick and Ruth G. and their 3 kids in 2009. Reporting live in Peoria, Katie Hines, ABC News Channel 20.
Also in court today, jurors learned a lot more about the blood found at the crime scene. Find out why forensic experts say a blood trail tells a major part of the story tonight at 6.
Well, kind of a dreary and humid day. I was out at the Capitol earlier and it felt humid, no?
Yeah, Rick, are we going to get any kind of relief? Any nice weather coming?
Well, actually, we'll get a dry day Friday, but then more rain chances for the holiday weekend, unfortunately. But which part's most likely to see rain? I'll let you know coming up in a few minutes. There's your high and low today. We have cooled down, more cool on the way. Your forecast is next. Well, a lot of clouds outside, not a lot of rain. There is some, and if we see rain tonight, the most likely place will be in our eastern counties, and it will be rather isolated as well. Cold front is sweeping through the region, and we felt that cooler air behind it today. And we'll look around the viewing area for you right now and show you where the rain is out there. A little bit of rain here just to the east of Mount Pulaski, just to the south of Clinton and DeWitt County. And this area right here north of Warrensburg, some brief moderate rain falling right now. Very isolated, as you can see, just to the west of Wapella as well. A little bit of rain here east of Clinton and to the northeast. And as we go down toward Decatur right now, maybe a brief shower, some sprinkles on the north side of town. And then as we head down to the southern part of our viewing area, a little brief shower around Ramsey right now. Otherwise, things are fairly quiet. Now, we do have quite a few clouds out there. You can see some breaks in the clouds as well, though. So it's a mostly cloudy sky here tonight with some isolated showers over the next few hours. And then it looks like the rest of the night tonight will be a dry one. Now, there's a cold front again moving through the region, low pressure to our north, and that is sending some of that rain our way at times here tonight. And you can see temperatures right now in the mid 70s for highs today. So we were quite a bit cooler than yesterday, almost 10 degrees cooler for most of us. 7 degrees cooler in Springfield, 8 in Lincoln, 9 in Decatur, 12 up in Peoria. Quincy, 13 degrees cooler than yesterday for a high temperature. And right now we are in the upper 60s to low 70s. The humidity has dropped, so very comfortable air. I think it's a jacket evening if you're going to head out tonight. Instead of dew points in the mid 60s like last night, we're looking at dew points now in the mid 50s. So that's very cool air, but very comfortable air. Here's a time lapse from just hours ago, and take a look at those clouds coming right at you there. A lot of dark cumulus clouds with some sunshine poking through those clouds at times. 72 degrees right now in Springfield. It's a cloudy sky, a little breezy out there. Winds here from the west at 20 miles per hour. There's that lower dew point now in the mid 50s. Our weather map for tomorrow shows the cold front to our east, but here comes a second cold front. Now this one tomorrow morning might bring a shower or two. We thought it would come through dry, but today's models say maybe a shower. So that'll be a possibility mainly before noon, likely in the morning hours, and then behind it for the afternoon. That cool flow continues with temperatures tomorrow topping out only in the 60s. We'll do that again Friday with full sunshine. And then here's another weather system out to the west that will give us rain chances for the holiday weekend. A slight rain or storm chance Saturday. The best chance of the entire holiday weekend likely comes Sunday, and then another slight rain or storm chance for Monday, Memorial Day, with trending temperatures going up as we work out the entire weekend. Temperatures tomorrow here in the 60s, 58 in Chicago, 70 in St. Louis. 55 overnight tonight, mostly cloudy skies with that evening isolated rain chance. 66 tomorrow, then early rain chance. And the 7-day forecast looks like this. Dry Friday, that slight rain or storm chance Saturday, best chance is Sunday, and then a slight rain or storm chance Monday, Memorial Day, with a high of 76.
Up next, what's on your plate? We'll reveal the 6 foods you should avoid to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Details in tonight's Health Beat.
Welcome back, everybody. Tick season will soon be upon us, and protecting yourself from the insects could help you avoid a very serious illness. A tick bite could lead to Rocky Mountain spotted fever, even Lyme disease, along with serious infections, sometimes death. Some tips: walk in the center of trails so weeds don't brush up against you. Use repellent that contains DEET. Tuck long pants into your socks and boots, and wear light clothing so you can see ticks. Here's what to do if you find a tick on you.
You want to use tweezers and get as close to the skin as you can with the tweezer, and gently but firmly pull the tick straight out. You don't want to twist or jerk it. If you don't have tweezers, you can use a Kleenex, a tissue.
Symptoms of tick-related illnesses include fever, chills, aches, and rash. If symptoms worsen within 2 weeks of a tick bite, see a doctor. Also, don't forget to check your pets for ticks as well.
The threat of severe weather may be gone, but the heavy rains in flooded areas we've seen in the past few weeks pose another threat. Puddles of water are breeding grounds for mosquitoes. This can happen even in places you wouldn't normally check for standing water. Gutters, tree stumps, and even children's toys can all become home to mosquito larvae. The good news: this doesn't mean Illinois will have a severe West Nile outbreak like the state saw last year.
Mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus are particularly the Culex mosquito or the house mosquito, and they typically are more common in later summer when the rains slow down.
Last year, stagnant water from the drought provided a breeding ground for the dangerous pest. A record number of human cases of the virus were reported nationwide in 2012.
If you want to lower your risk of having a heart attack or stroke, a new report shows you should carefully watch what you eat.
Liz Bonus has the 6 foods you should not put on your plate.
Margaret Schurter rarely misses her weekly workouts. She had her first heart attack
40 years ago.
Then, after years of good health, not long ago, she noticed some unusual symptoms.
It started hurting in my chest and to my back, and it wouldn't go away.
Sure enough, she'd had a second heart attack, which is why after treatment she continues to stay active to lower heart risks.
In addition to that activity, however, she made some major changes in her diet. And if you want to do some of those same things, a recent study found there are 6 foods all of us might want to diminish. Those who eat more of them have a greater risk of heart attack and stroke by age 35.
The Centers for Disease Control made this discovery by looking at a map of several states where heart events such as stroke were highest. They found the foods reportedly eaten more often that were likely linked to these included fried foods, such as fried chicken and fried vegetables, processed or salty meats, such as lunch meats, red meat, such as burgers, eggs, sweet drinks, such as sugared iced tea, and whole milk. Those who had the lowest heart attack and stroke rate, well, they ate more plant foods, such as fruits and vegetables. Margaret Schurter is doing really well now. When she leaves here,
I go home and I cut my grass. I just love working.
She might just be the picture of good health because, believe it or not, she is now 87 years old. I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Up next, more than a dozen local students honored for being leaders and achievers. We'll tell you how they're being rewarded for their good deeds.
College, it's expensive, and for many, it's the key to the future. Today, 15 students were presented with scholarships to help further their careers. These students were selected for being a leader and achiever in and outside of the classroom. Comcast has distributed nearly $19 million to 19,000 students across the country. Our own ABC News Channel 20 Chantel Middleton was the MC of today's event at the Governor's Mansion.
All right, tomorrow we'll see mostly cloudy skies. Could be a shower early in the day, 66 for the high. Cool weather taking over the end of this week. Sunshine just 68 on Friday, 69 Saturday with a slight rain or storm chance. Best chance of the holiday weekend Sunday, but we will have at least a slight rain or storm chance Monday, Memorial Day. Otherwise not bad, partly cloudy 76 into the 80s Tuesday and Wednesday. Is that more like it, or you prefer the cool?
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Which day is the best day for the barbecue?
Saturday or Monday.
Thank you, sir. That's our time. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you at 6.